In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Your Human Podcast.
Hey guys, you're listening to another episode of You're Human with Dakota Meyer, and this is episode 17. Wow, 17. It feels like we just started yesterday, but how awesome is that? Like, I guess I better start getting ready for what I'm going to do at episode 50. Maybe I'll do something special. But anyways, it's been an awesome week. It's Tuesday. We had to go a little bit later today. Usually we go at noon. We try to get that lunch crowd, but we had to go a little bit later today because I have been doing orientation at a new fire department. So been busy all day long around some incredible human beings. Really just an awesome time. So I got to tell you, let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room because it's the first thing that Knives Monroe brought up to me. And it was, what about that heat you took? He called it white heat, but yeah, I mean, I still go back to, and I truly believe with the core of me, that the root of all mental health is this aspect that people have been told they deserve something.
We'll get right back to
that. Hey, what's going on? It's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
What's going on, Devil Dog?
What's up?
Not much.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. Hey, I tried calling all last Tuesday, and it kept saying didn't accept calls or something. But
dang,
got a notification that you were on live, so I thought
heck
I'd
yeah.
jump on here.
What's going on? Where you at today?
Kentucky, brother.
Kentucky. What? I bet. Is it hot there?
You wouldn't believe how hot it is.
Hey, I'm in Texas right now, and it's 109.
Well, it wasn't that. We had a big storm come in through this afternoon.
I bet that humidity's higher than a giraffe's tail, ain't it?
It always is.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's going on?
I don't want to tie up your thing, but I was just gonna shout out to you. I've read your book and follow you and all that crap.
Heck yeah.
Facebook or nothing.
Heck yeah, brother. Well, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to call in. Where are you calling in from? What part of Kentucky?
Western Kentucky. You know where Paducah is?
Oh, do I know where Paducah is? Kentucky Lake?
Yeah, I live on the lake.
You do?
Yeah.
You don't go out there and do no fishing, do you?
No, we go boating every weekend. We got boat and jet ski.
Man.
Take the grandkids out there. And
you ain't old enough to you ain't old enough to have grandkids.
Man, I'm 48 years old, brother.
Golly, man. Well,
I retired in 2018 at 43.
Man.
And then my girlfriend, she retired from the school system. She worked there 30-something years. She's a school psychologist.
Heck yeah.
And I was used to being at home alone. I was like, I got to get me another job. So I went and got my CDL, and I'm driving a dump truck part-time whenever I want. So
heck yeah, man.
Work for TVA.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you calling in. I hope y'all have a good time. Try to stay cool down there.
We will.
All right. See you, brother. Thank you.
See you.
Man, what a good guy.
I'm going to hold the call just for a sec for you to get your word out.
Yeah, so like back to what I was saying was
white hot heat.
Was the white hot heat, that Knives brought up. And, these people, I truly believe that the root of, and first off, let's get started with everybody started getting focused on this pandemic of COVID. You want to talk about a real pandemic is mental health. Like, let's talk about a pandemic that nobody's paying attention to, and that you think, people are like, oh, COVID, it's just all these, these people wanting to make money, big pharma making money. Well, guess what mental health is? The same aspect. And I'll tell you where the root of this came from was this concept that we deserve something, this idea that we deserve something. There's a difference between needs, wants, and deserves, right? And so like, look, I believe that before we need to be running around asking or telling people that we deserve something, it's a fact of we need to be worthy of something. We need to be somebody that is worthy of it. But again, like you can't run around and let all this idea that I deserve to be heard. No, you don't. No, you don't. Like, I don't have to listen to you. It's my choice. Like, to put your responsibility of your emotional and mental health on others because they don't understand you, or all this idea, it's insane. And it's like, most people don't even understand themselves. Most people in relationships are like, well, you don't make me happy. Well, then what makes you happy? Well, I don't know. Well, I mean, then holy shit, like, how do I figure that out? Right. And it is so incredible, the lack of, and this concept that, well, because I'm a man, I deserve to be appreciated. Bullshit. None of us on here deserve anything. We all have more than we deserve. We all today have more than our ancestors had and any generation before us had. If you have an iPhone, if you have a phone, if you're watching this show right now, you already have more than 2 generations ago or 1 generation ago had when they were growing up, right? So it's like, we already have more than anybody than we deserve, right? And so it's like, it's this insane concept, and it's the root of all mental health, is this idea that my feelings and my emotional and mental health is going to be and rely on other people's. And it is insane, and it is a concept that will never work out.
It's funny. We did a podcast. You came on my show years ago. You know what that episode was called? It was called "You Don't Deserve Shit."
Yeah.
And that's just it's harsh reality. It's not sexy. It's not cool. No one's going to print it on a shirt. Well, maybe they will. But that's a pill that I swallowed a long time ago. You know, you don't deserve shit.
You don't deserve shit. Right? You don't deserve shit. And if you walk around and think you do deserve stuff, and you're in everything that you're like, when you talk about this one thing, people talk about unconditional love. Well, now everything in the world's conditional.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, if you appreciate me, well, I'll be a good friend. How about just be a good person no matter what? Like, you want to talk about true strength is being the best you, no matter what anybody fucking thinks, anybody says, or what you get in return.
I like that. I'm going to open up the calls, but we have a question. That was great. We have a question on Instagram from Ashley. How are you?
Oh, I love Ashley. I'm doing great, Ashley. How are you?
Do you have a Spotify playlist for when you work out?
I don't. I just kind of pick, sometimes, like, since I'm in paramedic, so I'm listening to cardiology or whatever, or I got to listen to, podcasts or.
What'd you say about cardiology? You studying when you're working out?
Yeah.
You're a nut.
Dude, I got to figure it out.
That is nuts. How do you get over the regret of having made the wrong decision in life?
How do I get over the regret of making the wrong decision in life? I don't know. Like, I think I used to hold on to that stuff, but like, I just don't hold on to it anymore, right? Like, I just do the best that I can, and I give all that I can every chance I get. I'm not saying I give 100%, because sometimes I don't have 100% to give, but I just do my best, and like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I try to learn off of it. And I call it this fail forward system of, like, I fail all the time, and I push myself, and I take on too much. I do the same things everybody else does, but I don't know. I don't really have much in my life that I regret. And so I think that regret comes from you holding on to something and punishing yourself for something longer than it needs to be, right? And so I look at things and thoughts and ideas, and if the thoughts that go through my head and the ideas and all of that, if they're not there to make me better and are not helping me get better, then they're gone to me. They're no good.
You're gonna laugh at me. This question: Trump or DeSantis? I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I
don't know who that is.
I mean, I like DeSantis, right? I mean, I think we've already gave Trump a run at it. I like DeSantis, so
there it is. What's your favorite dream vacation destination?
My favorite dream? I don't know. I've never thought about that.
I remember
a what?
Like a vacation destination, like Maui or something. Costa Rica.
I mean, I would like to go run the Moab 240. What? Is that not it? Or climb Mount Everest?
You're doing a 100-mile race that you signed up for. Tell me more about that. I wanted to get on that in the last podcast.
So I signed up for a 100-mile race. Actually, tomorrow I leave out to go do the Firefighter Challenge in Utah. So I'll be up there from tomorrow until Sunday. So we'll see how that turns out. And then kind of like trying to figure out what's going to be my next thing that I'm not good at. And so I hate running. So I decided to sign up for a 100-mile race.
There was a question that we got last week. What's the longest you've ever ran?
I don't know. Like it would be in the Marine Corps for sure. Like I did run a marathon one time, right?
It's 26, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I forgot. Hey, it's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
Dakota, how's it going? It's Richard from Missouri, brother.
What's up, man?
Oh, just coming to bother you for your weekly call.
Heck yeah.
Just checking up on you, making sure you're good.
I'm always good.
By the way, to your cameraographer guy, that's a good idea for a t-shirt. You said it earlier. I'd buy that shirt. Just letting you know right now.
Heck yeah.
That is awesome.
You don't deserve shit. That's
We're
a good
working
shirt.
on it. We're working on it.
Good shirt.
100%. Dakota, a few things.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about COVID earlier. Man, I had an issue with the COVID thing. And like everybody, I bought into it for a little bit, and I understand that people were hurt. My only problem was I started having doubts the moment I started seeing nurses making OnlyFans. That's when I was like, all right, there's something more here than what meets the eye. The other thing, I got a question I've always wanted to ask you.
Okay.
When you got your Medal of Honor, all right?
Yep.
We know that it was a great moment. You go there, right? Do they leave enough room in those pants for when your balls drop and they go king? Because that would be like a really embarrassing thing. There's attention orders, king, or does that happen like after everything is said and done? I'm just curious, man. I gotta know. This is a question I've been dying to ask.
No, it was like I don't remember much about it. Like it was such a crazy, hectic time, but but
I figured as much.
But no, I mean, I think what they do is they try to watch out for you because, it's not really about having big balls. It's just about being too dumb to quit. Right. And that's all I've ever had going in my life. And so, it wasn't about like, having anything somebody else didn't. It was probably not having, the same brains and, regard for safety as others did. Right. And that's what separated me from everybody else.
That's what it comes down to, man. It's just not giving a fuck and just going.
Yeah.
Doing, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes like you just gotta have that to be able to go all in. Right.
I mean, look at Robert, when the Bin Laden guy, man, what I'm saying? Like that, he even says it. He's like, I knew I was going to die. I just needed to hear it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
It comes to a point. That's wild, man. I've always wanted to ask you that.
That's awesome.
Dude, I was going to ask you on the podcast, but I was like, I want to ask him now.
Hell yeah.
It's been eating at me, Dakota. It's been eating at
me.
Well,
you call me anytime and ask me any questions.
Brother, I love you so much.
Love you too, man.
I just want to call you and say hi.
I hope you have a good week, brother.
You too, man.
See you, man. But what's another question? What a good guy. I like that guy.
Well, Steven on Facebook says, you know what you deserve?
What?
To be called Dr. Mike.
I love it. Man, did you read those comments? How off the rails and unhinged. Like, if you want to see the problem with America, just go look in those comments on that. Like, well, I feel like I deserve this. And it's like, oh my gosh, you sound like my fucking kids.
Someone here on Facebook says, I spent 12 years in Bosnia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, New Orleans after Katrina, plus sometimes in other places, survived stage 4 cancer. I ask nothing from anyone, but cry at least once a day from thinking of my friends who are suffering from all sorts of things.
Hell yeah. Hey, it's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
My name is Daniel from Texas.
What's up, man?
Hey, man, I see you. You do a lot, and naturally in your position, and I applaud that. That's awesome to see veterans succeeding, and it's part of why part of my question, actually. I got out about 10 years ago. I joined Dying Corps, went to Afghanistan.
Oh yeah.
And in coming home, I noticed that a lot of people didn't go that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And after the withdrawal, employment was hard to find, right? A lot of opportunities went away. And what I noticed was, I find it in my employment, in the little niche market that I'm in, military and veterans succeed. But there's a lot of other markets they don't.
Yeah.
And there don't seem to be nearly as much focus on hiring veterans. And a lot of my friends just flat out struggle. So just curious, as in your travels and in your networking, what your observation was. Do you see this as an issue? Because I find that a lot of veterans, particularly those with some senior and have been around the block and understand, conflict resolution and a lot of these things we learn, grit. The way we approach situations is a little more calm and a little more adapt and overcome, as opposed to, integrity, core values, all that kind of carries over with me. And I know a lot of my friends are the same way, but they don't have the same luck.
Well, so first off, I don't believe in luck, right? I don't believe that you got lucky. I believe that you were willing to do whatever it took to get to where you wanted to be. And I don't think anything was handed. You know what I mean? Like when people say luck, it takes away the credit that you get for the hard work and the struggles that you put into it.
Yeah.
So
no, I get.
So I don't think anybody gets bad luck. I think that people just decide. So what I've seen with the veteran community that frustrates me a lot is they get out and just think sometimes, I'm not saying all of them, but sometimes that the world should be like, well, I served my country and I'm better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's not the case. You know what I mean? It's like, man, I couldn't, you know what I thought about this the other day, and I was working out in the gym, and I'll get back to your question, but I want to see your thoughts on this. How long did you serve?
I was just under 10 years.
So under 10 years, right? And how long, I mean, could you imagine being 70 years old and 10 years of your life defined your whole life, right? You didn't do anything bigger than that afterwards, right? And so like, imagine these people who served 4 years. And like, that was what drove me to go out and figure something out, right? Like, this phrase, once a Marine, always a Marine. Well, that doesn't work very good when you get out and you need to go to corporate America. Like, you can't act like a fucking Marine in corporate America, right? So I think that there's like this entitlement that, hey, I've reached the peak of my life. And I think this is why veterans can relate to all these pro athletes, right? Like they reach this high capacity and high threshold at such a young age, but they're not told like, yeah, you might have been great in the Marine Corps, but you're just now learning how to be a damn civilian. Right. And now you got to get out here and be good in the civilian world. And wherever you go to, whatever company, career field that you come into, and I always try to point this out, right? Like, dude, you could take the CEO of whatever company out there, and if he came to the military, where would he start at?
Yeah.
And a lot of veterans aren't willing to do that, right? And then what they do is so, and then they're not willing to do that. They think that they should come out and they should, go back to where they started at. And it's just not, it's not the reality. And I think that like, for me, the hardest thing to overcome, I mean, let me tell you something. I today just got out of an orientation, brand new guy, part-time in Proby at a fire department today.
Yeah.
Like, guess what I was doing right before I came here and got on this podcast? I was mopping the floor and cleaning toilets. A lot of veterans aren't willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. And, and there's kind of a two-part answer to that response.
Yeah.
One, is that I've seen veterans leave without a degree. That drives me bonkers. I don't understand it. You know, not only did I use the GI Bill, but I know I can go use the Texas Hazelwood Act for to continue that. I've never understood how we leave the service without utilizing that. You know what I mean?
Well, let me say, so let me talk on that point, right? The days of, man, the day, like for me, and I'm just going to speak from my side because I don't want to speak from anybody else's. Man, I went to the Marine Corps because when you went to the military, like, did you want to go to college?
No, I wanted to get the hell out of Texas.
Well, so for me, like, I didn't want to go to college, right?
Yeah.
So I went to the Marine Corps. Well, guess what? When I got to the Marine Corps, I still didn't want to go to college. But but what I will say is when you look at, let's compare our counterparts who didn't go to the military. And I don't care what anybody says. There should be no reason that veterans their trajectory is not astronomically higher than the counterparts of somebody who went to college, right? And I don't care about the education piece, but name one other place that out of high school, you can go work for 4 years, guaranteed a paycheck, guaranteed health care, guaranteed your college, 4 years of college paid for, and you get a salary while you're going to it. The benefits of the VA, like name one other place that you're guaranteed that you can go work for 4 years at an entry. The day you sign up, you're getting all these rights and all of these VSOs out there, these nonprofit organizations who are there ready to help. I mean, when you look at, like you said, the Hazelwood Act, my kids, like there's all kinds of stuff for my kids. Like, I mean, I got a Purple Heart. So, I mean, it's like, and when you look at but even if you didn't get any of that, just the sheer fact that you serve this country, first off, there's veteran hiring initiatives almost in every company. There's hiring heroes. There's tons of VSOs out there. There's over, I think, 400,000 out there that are ready and standing by, ready to help. So as a veteran, it's arguably, it's okay to argue that a veteran going and serving in the military for 4 years sets you up better than any other trajectory there is.
Well, and let me give you two examples of the flip side of that.
Yeah.
One,
I'm in.
I have so much respect for the Air Force Security Forces.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why. I'll be damned if they take care of each other. In the defense contracting space, those guys are on point.
Yeah.
And I've got somebody at the door, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. Those guys take really good care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're always looking out. It's like a fraternity, and they're always looking to, hire on because they all know each other. And I don't see that.
You're right. You want to know why? Because veterans, I'm
still going to listen to you.
All right, I'll answer your question. I'll go on my point. So,
all right.
Thanks, man. But and you're 100% right. We should be taking care of each other. The only people taking care of veterans right now. Look, America loves us. America loves veterans. The Vietnam veterans have bent over backwards to ensure that we will not be treated that way. But I'll tell you what. Each other, the own community eats its own, shits on its own, eats each other up. And that's the problem with our biggest enemies are each other. And that is a huge aspect. But back to it, it goes down to the individual mindset of getting out, saying, you know what, I'm going to use this as to set up the rest of my future instead of this is the end and I should be retired.
Got Sean on Facebook saying exactly one person serving can change that family's future for generations. Just by the use of a VA home loan and not having property taxes.
Yep, 100%.
Got a heavy one from Christina who called a couple episodes ago.
I remember Christina.
My question is, what do you think we can do to protect our children in these school shootings? My granddaughter is 4. She'll be attending public school next year, and I'm terrified of sending her.
Look, we need to be holding teachers accountable to, and school districts. Like school districts will listen. If you go and start going to school board meetings and bringing up and hearing what their solutions are. Look, I think that there's a ton of great measures that are already in place, but I do think that it's going to take that families are showing the seriousness of this and how serious they're taking it. Right. So I think that's a big piece of it. Hey, it's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
Hey, Dakota, how you doing?
Good. What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm a Marine vet. I served years before you.
Hell yeah.
90. Thank you for your service, brother.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for
Listen, I
yours.
just wanted to. Oh yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Listen, I just wanted to sort of send out a message. I was involved in an accident, a helicopter crash, when I was in Korea.
Oh man.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
It wasn't until about 20 some odd years later that I was diagnosed with PTSD, and I shied away from it for so long because I thought, well, I'm fortunate enough that I never had to serve in combat, and I see that as being fortunate. But I thought, PTSD is something that just affects the combat vets. But what I found out after several, a couple of failed marriages and relationships and problems at work, when I went in and I started doing some of the group work and everything with the VA, I found out that all the people that were in there that had the different stressors, to include combat vets, all of our symptoms were the same. And it didn't matter if you were military sexual trauma, or there was a couple guys in there like me that were involved in accidents. One guy got shot by accident. And then there were some combat vets there, even a Korean War vet that was theirs. Anyway, all of our symptoms were the same with that, with this disorder. And so I just wanted to say that if there's anybody out there that's listening to this, that's struggling, do yourself a favor and invest in yourself, invest in people that love you, and just get some help. The VA has been awesome. Yeah, we bitch and moan about some of the things they do, and there's hospitals that are better than others. But I'm telling you, they saved my life. For real.
That's awesome, man.
Sometimes you just have to go in there like a little kid and put your arms up and say, hey, I need some help.
Yeah.
And let them help you. Let people help you, man.
I agree. I agree. I agree with you 100%. Like, look, and I do think that this is something that a stereotype that's got to be broken. Not only that you can't go ask for help, but I think a bigger stereotype that's got to be broken is that PTSD is unique to veterans, and it's not. Like it's not unique to veterans. It's not like combat is not a unique PTSD. Like PTSD affects everybody, and like the worst day of your life the worst day of my life is no more significant than the worst day of your life, and that's it.
Yeah, roger that. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm glad you went and got help, brother. I appreciate you calling in. Great message.
Okay. Thanks. Love your podcast. Love what you're doing.
I love you, man. See you, bro. Great message. Great message.
Yeah. How do you disagree with that?
Yep. Can't.
Andrew, great podcast. I'd love to call in and discuss the difference in the versus mentality of active duty versus veterans down each other. Feel free to call in, man.
You want to answer it? Hey, it's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
Hey, Dakota. It's Andrew. I'm down here in Austin. How's your day going, man?
Hell yeah. Where you at in Austin?
Actually, outside Leander. We met once over at Sheepdog rolling at Veterans Jiu-Jitsu. How's the week been, bro?
Badass, man. Life's good.
That's awesome to hear. I was listening in. I actually just got out of my office, driving to the house now, all Bluetooth, of course. But I heard the one guy talking about, veterans, like eating each other alive. I'm still on active duty, right? I'm at 12 years. I'm going to ride out the last 8.
Hell yeah.
Until I hit my 20, and then I'm a bounce, right?
Yep.
But what I'm starting to notice, right, being a recruiter and seeing this in Austin at least, is the veteran community that we have here in Austin. You, Tim, all these other guys are all tight-knit and welcoming to people. But everywhere else I've been and everywhere else I see, it's so, like, tearing each other apart, get out before they screw you over. Like, how do we fix that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my mindset. It's how do we fix ourselves to fix these issues?
Man, listen, I walked up on a conversation the other day. I think it's terrible, right? And the military has its problems, but like it's still a great organization. And it had its problems back when I was in, right? And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, but we try to be as welcoming, but man, like they're still, we still get eat up, right? I mean, we still get eat up by our own of, all this bullshit. And it's like, I don't know, man. I just think that like at the end of the day, it's a bunch of people who look, it's not a military problem. It's a people problem, right? And it's this entitlement generation of not the generation, it's just entitled people who think that they owed something, right? And it's like, man, like we're just here to make the world a better place. And like, don't take your job is a part of you, but I mean, there's so much more to being, to serving than what I mean? I mean, like, it's just, I don't know how to fix it. I'm with you. But
also, like, the way I asked that was wrong. Like, not like you specifically how to fix it. Like, I was thinking out loud.
yeah,
Because it's like, cause I'm the recruiter for Leander, and it's wild. All the kids I talk to, and all the young men and women that like even are in, that are eligible to do this. And it doesn't have to do with the branch anymore, but it's wild the amount of people that come up. I contact them and I'll meet them, and they're like, "Yeah, my uncle, my brother, so and so. Oh, they served. They did 4 years, 12 years. They've been in as long as you have." They said, "Absolutely not. It's the worst thing." And then turn around and we have this military recruiting crisis, and I'm like,
yep.
yeah, it's like we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you this next generation wants to serve. Like, we don't have a problem of the next generation doesn't want to serve. We have a problem that the last generation walks around entitled with this chip on their shoulder, and they have fucked up the reputation of the military. Like, that's exactly what it is. I mean, the military sucked and was hard when I was in it, right? But it was a badass job, and we got to do something that was very, very honorable. And when we take away that aspect of that serving your country and serving others is an honorable thing to do, then you have a problem like we have right now, right?
Yeah.
But I
mean,
think
I get the standards on part of it are kind of, super outdated for enlistment purposes, but it's the idea that I deal with, and it's just me spitballing here, talking to somebody off the top of my head. There's so many veterans in like Leander. Let's just use Leander as an example, right? So many of them are telling their kids or their nephews not to do this, but they're the same ones living off a VA loan, 100% disability checks, well earned, well deserved. But you're going to tell somebody not to take advantage of that?
I think it's atrocious when there's a veteran out there that is saying, fuck the military while getting, like, especially on duty, right? Like, I heard a colonel the other day. I walked up on a conversation of a colonel telling people, and a whole group was listening to him, telling people that he tells his kids not to serve. And it's like, how stupid do you look that you're still in uniform serving, but you're telling your kids not to do it?
That's wild. That's
like, if you're still in uniform and you're telling people not to sign up, you look like the moron.
Like don't get me wrong. If people are doing it, like, I get doing that, like, nah, don't go Marines, go Army, or nah, don't go Army, go Navy.
Yeah.
Don't go Navy, go Marines. Like, that's that rah-rah brotherhood rivalry stuff that everybody,
Yep.
That's normal.
Yep.
But it's the whole don't do it, or I will refuse to allow my kids to do it in this environment. Like, the environment hasn't changed. You're just upset at the one time you got in trouble.
Yeah, or you're just upset that you quit serving the day that you got out of the military, the day you stopped getting paid for it, right? Like, you're like, yeah, it's such a terrible mentality, right? And again, like I've said this, I mean, listen, I've sat down with some of the big dogs, right? And I've told them, I said, until we fix this transition piece, you ain't gonna be able to fix the recruiting piece, because your number one recruiter or deterrent is that service member that got out.
Yeah. And that's what's wild is I talked to Tim about this at the gym, and it's like, I was like, why don't we have more big names like you, Tim, Best, all these guys? Like, I know y'all do, like, praise it up, but nobody wants to listen to people that have a platform praise up all the benefits benefits. They just want to hear the one E4 or E3 that got popped on a DUI
Yeah.
and chaptered out after being in the Army or the Marines for 6 months. Like I don't get why people focus on the negative.
Well, the people that talk shit are the ones that did the least. You know, the people that are going around and ruining the military and talking shit about the military are the ones that did the least. And that's the atrocious part of it, right?
Yeah, it's like we caught our office. We caught a couple dudes saying, you know, they were in group and did this and did that. And I'm like, that's not a real thing, man. That's not even remotely possible that you did all these things.
Yeah. And it's insecurity, right? I mean, listen, it says more about them. It's guys that, you know, that they can't find a way to fulfill what, you know, be who they want to be. So they just, you know, they pretend to be somebody they're not, right? I mean, this is a day, you know, but again, ultimately what it comes down to is nobody's calling these guys out, right? Nobody like this, nobody's calling them out. And I'll tell you, like, the only way this thing's going to get fixed is when the veteran community starts policing its own.
Yeah. Even active duty, like the service members as a whole, I feel like.
Yep.
Past and current, myself included, like I don't know. I feel like I got 8 years, man. I got to figure it out. Hopefully I can figure it out soon.
Man, look, you ain't going to be able to fix it all, but I'll tell you this, man, like, if you go out there and you can put the positive light, I mean, you in uniform should be able to make more of an impact on people than these people who got out of uniform, right? And so, like, the ability for you to be able to be a beacon of hope and a shining a light on it, and being able to go out and giving real tools and opportunities that the military provides. Like, man, like, serving in the military can literally change the trajectory of, like a guy said earlier, an entire generation. And, like, man, as long as you go out there and you're echoing that message every single day, like, you need to stay in as long as you can because the military needs that.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. I love helping these kids and these young men and women here in Austin. The stories I get, man, I can tell you about some of these situations.
Oh yeah.
And I remember the amount of kids just in Leander alone, man. I write mostly deal with the high schoolers and all the Leander ISD. And the stories I get from these kids right before they leave, and they tell me why they did it, it makes me feel good. Like, everybody wants this newest generation is going to be soft. Like, you don't know these people's backstory before they join. Like, they might have had the same come up you did. It's just different because you've been in for 10 or 15 years with a couple Afghan deployments. Like, my one deployment, then you're 2 or 3. Or this kid that came out of a crack house that is the only one. Oh, he's been shot at his whole life, but now he's in and he's doing really good. Yeah, look down on him because he hasn't deployed yet. That makes zero sense to me.
This idea that this next generation's weak is absolutely wrong. Because they're not weak. They're actually strong and they're smart. And it's like whenever you try to go date a smart woman who can't have a conversation with you because you're such a fucking idiot. And that's how this next generation feels with us. They're not any of this. They're bored. They're bored with us because they process information at a higher rate. They're smarter. It takes a lot more to keep them focused because they process information at a rate so much faster. And so if an organization can't retain and they're not attracting this next generation, it's not the generation's problem. But again, just like everybody else in the world, we blamed everybody else for our problems instead of taking responsibility to fix it. And the military and every other organization has got to find a way to be able, like, people joined. And I gave this, I think I talked about this last time. Like, think about this. Like, you're in the Army, right?
Yeah.
So
number one branch.
So think about when I joined. I walked into a room, I walked into this recruiter station, and there were every branch was in there, right? And so you know who the only branch was that didn't offer a bonus, a sign-up bonus, not a re-enlistment bonus, but a sign-up bonus during the last, the Iraq or Afghanistan war?
Marines.
The Marines. And I think about that, right? But again, what is the perception of the Marines?
you, the proud, the strong. Y'all have probably the best
Yep.
imaging, or not imaging, but like self-identification across all of us.
Yep.
I will give y'all that. Like,
Well, we
they haven't changed.
And we do get that. We do, like, we are kind of like, you all are really good at it as far as unit based, but we are as far as the branch, right? Because we're smaller. But like, people join, I joined the Marine Corps and I didn't take the $20,000 from the National Guard or the Army or whatever else, because I wanted the challenge. I wanted to be part of the best. I wanted to be, and who knows if they were or not, right? But I just wanted to be part of something that was hard, the challenge, and part of being the best. And right, and that's what that's what it looked like to me. And that was worth more to me than any amount of money or any cool helicopter job or whatever else you were going to give me. And so that's what we got to get back to.
Yeah. You need to get back to the prestige, the prestige of
Yes.
running. Like, don't get me wrong, money's great. 50 grand and a job, I'll take it all day. But it's at the end of the day, you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror. This is how I look at it, and be like, you know what? I did something that was more than myself.
Yes.
With a group of people that came together to be more than ourselves, to do something that only a few ever get to do. And I think once the DOD embraces that again, it says this is us and we're not changing, is going to be the only way to shift the market back in our favor.
Well, it takes people like you staying in and continuing to do what you're doing. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, man. I'm sorry to take up so
No,
much
hell
time.
yeah, man. What a great conversation. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for what you do.
Absolutely.
See you,
I
man.
appreciate you, man. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Hopefully I'll see you back at Sheepdog, man. We get another role one of these days.
Hell yeah, man. I'm in.
All right, man.
All right.
Take it easy.
See you, bro. What an awesome conversation, Knives.
Great call. And I like what you said about, they call them Zoomers, Gen Z, right? That there's nothing wrong with them. They just want to be challenged.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody, especially from my generation, put it that way.
It's a fact. They're smarter than us already. Like, could you,
I see it in my son.
Right? Your son can work technology, which everything's technology now, better than you can.
That's right.
Right? Faster.
Process information way
Yep.
quicker.
Yep.
I mean, he's more ambitious than I think I was at that age.
100%.
They just need to be challenged.
Yeah.
I have a question here from Instagram. How can you start to get out of a depressive, negative self-talk cycle? It feels like positivity feels like lies.
We have to start challenging them. Right? You have to challenge those thoughts. Like when it's like, well, do you feel like you're a bad person? Well, are you a bad person? Is everything that you've done bad? Are you doing bad things right now? No. So I think you just have to start it a little bit at a time. Hey, it's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
Are you doing bad things right now? No.
Hi, how's it going?
What's up?
Oh, this is Seamus from New York. It's a pleasure to meet you. I have two questions for you if you have time.
Yes, sir.
I saw a lot of the work that you did to get over your PTSD,
Yeah.
and I was diagnosed with the complex PTSD, which is totally different. But I was hoping to learn better, because it seems like you've really moved on and put it in the past. I mean, that's the perception.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like look, I got with an organization, and I went down and I truly believe in plant medicine, right? I'm a big proponent for going and, there's a few organizations out there. Vet Solutions is the one that I recommend, but I believe in plant medicine. So that was really a helpful piece to me, but I think there's a lot of great tools out there, but I'll tell you, I had to truly want to get better, right? So many times, for a long time, I'm going to talk about myself. I wouldn't take any responsibility for what I was doing, right? I would justify the things that were making it worse on the PTSD. Well, I'm drinking. Well, it's because I got PTSD. No, I was drinking because I was drinking too much. I'm not working out. I'm hanging around wrong people. I'm sleeping all day. Like, all these things compounded and did not do anything to help me get past where I was at. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I understand.
Everything heals. The brain especially. everything heals. God created it. And I mean, even trees, when you cut off a limb, it heals. Like everything in nature, we are designed to heal. And if we're not healing, we need to really narrow down our actions and our time. Are we putting the time in to heal? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I've gone to talk therapy, and I went to get help, but like when we really got into it, I mean, I would leave, and it was so heavy that I would sit in the car for hours afterwards with the door open because I felt it was I had such
Claustrophobic.
a physical reaction to it. I felt like I was going to puke,
Yeah.
And
Did you feel better after talking about it?
not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked with that one person for years, then I worked with somebody else, and it just seemed like, well, I talked about it a little bit, and I talked to some friends about it, and it's almost better to like leave it alone, because I was never in the military. I was molested my whole childhood, so
Yeah.
it affected me like developmentally.
Yeah.
So
Well,
not to make
listen,
an excuse,
I
just
don't,
to-
no,
to
no, no.
fact.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know. Listen, I'm not a psychiatrist, right? Let me say it up front.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what helped me the most, right? And look, first off, I'm sorry for what you've gone through. But do you want me to tell you what helped me the most was
Yeah, please.
when I started looking at it. And let me ask you something. Do you know what it's like to have a hard day?
Yeah.
And let me ask you something. When you had that hard day, did you get through it?
Oh, yeah, always.
Right, always. So you know what I feel like is like what helped me the most was whenever I found a way to be able to help others get through their bad day. And I was able to reassure them by sharing my story to say, look, like if I can do it, you can do it, right? And there's a lot of power with that. And there's a lot of hope with your story of you being able to use that in those circumstances of like, look, I went through this and I faced these days, and it gives you credibility with people that I could never have, right? And you're able to relate to them and help them get through their hard days. And when you do that, it helps you heal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, part of like doing service and giving back.
Yeah. I mean, man, like you helped me by just telling me this. I guarantee you the next time that I have a struggle in front of me, and I'm not thinking about it as far as like comparing, but I'm thinking about it as far as respecting you, right? Respecting like, man, this guy from New York got through it. I couldn't imagine. I'm damn sure going to get through it. You know what I mean? Like and that helps everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes.
Does that make
Yeah, that
sense?
was the second question I had was I admire Crispy,
Yeah.
and I know you're friends with him, and I've been going through, I had cancer, and I've been going through it the past 4 years. I just had 2 surgeries because one of the chemos that I had gave me congestive heart failure, and so now they just put in a pacemaker. I mean, a defibrillator, and then they messed it up, so then they had to go in again to fix it, and it's just like they keep moving the goal line, and it's just I can't imagine what Crispy has gone through and how I was hoping like you might be able to relate to me, like how he's gotten through it, because this is, I mean, I lost my house. I lost a whole bunch of friends because they couldn't handle me having cancer. It was just like, I haven't been able to get back to work yet, when work is one of the things that I could beat work. I've worked 24, 48-hour days, and I've just left extremely happy because I've like self-made, It's like I've gotten there without any help from anyone, knowing no one, and I've done it all myself, and I'm so happy with work. And now I don't even know if I can go back to work. So I was just wondering if you might be able to relate how he got through with.
Man, Crispy,
so much.
Crispy is a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? Like Crispy is the epitome. Like I look up to Crispy with so much. Like not only is he a friend, but like, I mean, he's somebody that I look up to. And when I think about, I mean, the guy will give his shirt off of his back and show up to be there. And like, No, and he struggles. Like Crispy struggles just like me and you, right? And but you know, I look at him and like Crispy's purpose is bigger than his struggles. And I think that's, I can't speak for him, but I think that that's like, that's what's always kept him moving is, you know, you talk about a guy who's got it dealt. I mean, one thing after another, right? I mean, it's hard enough for him to be able to even, so, I mean, his body can't even regulate the heat. You know what I mean? So I mean, and he lives in Texas, so he's always sweating. He's always, you know, he's always trying to keep enough water in him to stay hydrated. I mean, just the simple fact that, like, I mean, and that's what I think about all the time for myself is like, I got nothing to complain about. My body, I'm thankful that my body regulates my heat. Crispy doesn't even have that luxury, right? And then you take his leg, right? Like, so then on top of it, where his leg, his prosthetic connects, I mean, it busts open all the time. And then he doesn't even get the opportunity to walk on his prosthetic because of the wounds won't heal. You know what I mean? And like on and on. And I'll tell you this though, but I've never seen the guy not be thankful. And he's always got a positive attitude. He's always willing to help others. And I think what Crispy, and again, I'm speaking way out of my wheelhouse. But I think what Crispy does is he knows how much we all around him look up to him and rely on him. And sometimes, like, you know, he stays strong for us, right? And I mean, look at Miss Crispy, right? She's an incredible human being. I mean, all of it. And so I think, man, like when it comes down to it, any of these guys that are like that, you know, I think that, like, again, they found a purpose and a fulfillment of helping others more than the struggles that's in front of them. And I think at the end of the day, they're just happy to be alive. You know, the fact that they can take their own breath, like the level of appreciation that people get to, you know, I mean, Crispy's just, I mean, the dude fucking, he give his shirt off of his back for anybody, right? Because just for the simple fact, because he's so fucking thankful for everything that he has a shirt to give. And I think that, you know, I think that's what kind of it comes down to. And I couldn't imagine what either one of you all have gone through. I mean, that's why, like, I don't have shit to talk about, but like, I just think it comes down to, it could always be worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the only way I've been able to get through these past couple of years. I just boiled it down to, you know, try and move forward every day somehow, with even if it's just making a phone call, and then be grateful every day.
Yeah.
Just do that every day, and you know, you're gonna be all right.
Man, none of us are guaranteed anything, right? And like,
no,
the way I try to look at everything, any struggle, like, obviously we all get down, and that's our emotions, and that's ultimately what makes us human, right? That's really what it is. It's like, you know, if we didn't have emotions, we would be robots. And I just always think about, and whether you believe in God or not, like, I don't even want to get in that conversation, but I always think about, just look at the story of the Bible about Jesus Christ, right? Jesus Christ cared about everybody. And he literally came down here and he was teaching the word of God. He was going around helping others. He was giving out food. I mean, literally, he was the most perfect person to ever walk the face of the planet, as the story is told. And ultimately, I mean, people still, they looked at him and didn't believe him. They hated him. They talked behind his back, all the way down to the supper that he ate the night before he was killed by the people that he had dinner with and broke bread with. And he was put up on, and guess what he did as he died? He died for those people that killed him. And I just think about that like, man, what are these experiences? What are these struggles, these obstacles that are being put in front of you that you've been dealt with in life? What are they being used? How can you use them for good? Like, what are you being taught to be able to help others? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And you have a lot of power, man. Like, man, you have a lot of power. And like the people who didn't hang around you when you're going through cancer and your friends that left, man, let me tell you what has happened right there. That was God purging your life. Because if they don't appreciate you now, they damn sure don't deserve you then.
Yeah, the only way, I mean, I was pissed, but I just reconciled it with being, feeling sorry for them that they're that weak.
Yeah.
I mean, it might not be the best way to look at it, but it was just like, that's how it helped me.
Fair weather friends, man. What
yeah.
What do you get up and do every day? What do you like doing other than work? Like what do you like doing?
Well, I don't even know if I can go back to my old work, so I want to see if I can go back to if I could learn to work with dogs. Maybe
you like dogs?
Dogs. Yeah.
Man.
But I mean, I can't even afford one now.
Yeah.
I'm basically kind of homeless right now. So I can't afford to take care of a dog. I barely take care of myself. But I want to see about volunteering some places, and then even the Department of Labor said that they can give you some training. So I found a school, and I wanted to see if they'd pay for let me to go there.
Well, it's going to
get back up on my feet again.
It's going to get better, man. It's going to get better. One foot in front of the other. It's going to get better.
Yeah.
You go listen. I want you. I want you to call me back.
I just wanted to say I was really proud of you when I saw you do your solo flight in your helicopter. I was like, I was just really happy.
Man, yeah, such a. It's always good to learn, right? It's always good to learn, and man, I always believe that if you continue to do the right things, you're going to end up in the right place.
Yeah, I used to skydive, and
oh yeah,
I just want to get healthy and lose weight and be able to get back to that. Because those people were so mentally healthy. I've never seen a group like that before,
Yeah, they what a fun thing to do. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you calling in. I hope you call back and check in with me and let me know how life's going. I truly believe that, man, if you just get up every day and you help others, that somebody's going to help you.
All right, thank you for letting me call in.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
I was heavy. Do we have time for another call?
Yeah, do we have any calling in? We'll give them like 2 minutes.
We'll give them time. Someone's asking, any more SGB shots?
No, I haven't had to have any. Nothing. Man, life's hard. You know what I mean?
There's something that gentleman said. I had to write it down. We'll get back to it.
Hey, it's Dakota with Your Human Podcast.
Yes, hello, Dakota.
Hey,
my name's Jonathan, and I'm calling you from a long way.
Where are you at?
I'm actually I'm in Hawaii.
Oh, awesome! What part?
I'm on the Oahu Island.
Where at?
Well, I specifically live I specifically live in the Kapolei area, which is on the west side of the island.
Yeah. Over near Schofields over there.
Sort of yeah. So it's like about maybe 10, 11 miles.
Yeah, there's a range over there. We used to go to Kapolei or whatever.
Yeah, I know where that is. And the Marine Corps base, which I have a friend of mine, so soon to be family member. He's a Marine Corps firefighter, which like the Marine Corps base that's on the other side of the island.
Yeah, it's on Kaneohe Bay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to live there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So you were stationed here on the island too.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Yeah. But I'm not as cool as you because I'm serving in the United States Army.
Oh well, listen, you're cooler probably maybe. You sound cooler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. It's but I spent at least I've been kind of like in the same deployment zone or around like in the same deployment zone as where Marines were at the time, both Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you as well. And I always like to tell people to thank you for paying your taxes too.
No, I love it.
That way, yeah. I mean, but then service is it's the greatest thing because I've been doing it for over 24 years total so far.
You've been doing it for a minute.
Yeah, for I would say for like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I know I don't look like it. I still get carded.
Well, that's awesome.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm actually because even though like I'm still serving in the military, but I'm actually homeless right now too because I'm specifically in the reserves and you know how the reserves are. It's only 1 week in a month, 2 week to 2 weeks like in the summer or so or something like that. And it's a different component within the that's different than majority, which is active duty.
So you're Army Reserves,
Yes, I am.
and you said you're homeless.
Yes.
There's no organization that.
Well, yeah, I'm staying in what's called the U.S. vets right now because it's amongst like where there's a lot of like the homeless veterans or for whatever situation that they're in because you have some that need like substance abuse help or like mental health, but then mental health which is really big thing.
Yes, it's huge.
Yes, and I mean, but then it's like because even like I even have a roommate. He's also in the same unit as me, and yeah, but I mean, but I'm engaged, and then just moving forward from losing my wife to breast cancer back like in November 2019. So I was watching your Facebook Live. I'm not sure like you're still if like the live is still rolling.
It's still rolling.
Right now, but okay. Well, I mean, just I'm not watching it right now. So that way I can I can talk.
Well, what can I do to?
Well, yeah. I mean, because it's just because I've never taken a chance to actually speak like and bond with like a fellow veteran because I find myself I really found myself just kind of like just like keeping to myself because especially because now that combat operations have really died down or changed up quite a bit, especially after coming out of 20 years of Iraq and Afghanistan. It's like I really don't. I mean, I just miss like the old camaraderie.
So let me get this right. You've served. Were you ever active duty?
Yes, I was. Majority of my time, it was. I first joined in 1996. That's a long time ago.
Yes, sir.
Well before 9/11, and but then I got out of the military a couple times, but then I did like a total about a little over 14 and a half years of active duty. But then I left active duty back in 2013, and because it was called Marine Corps, they call it high year tenure.
Oh yes,
Army,
sir.
It's the Army. Its equivalent is retention control point. So yeah, because it's mixed with that. Plus also, let's face it, toxic leadership
happens.
Yeah,
yes, sir. So, and so you're telling me you served how many years?
24 total.
And you're still part of the active reserve, right?
Yes, I am. I still go to drill weekends. I still go to annual training. I still go through like other operational orders. Like if I have to go to the MTO Academy, or if I have to go through school, to either maintain certification.
And
I just can't. Oh,
and what's going on? So you said you're homeless.
Yes, I am. It's been like that as of January.
Man, I'm so sorry. Is there what do we need to do to help fix this?
Well, it's kind of difficult for me because it's like because I know it doesn't look good, just even like come up to my chain of command, like say, for example, for my NCOICs and my OICs, and people that are senior to me, enlisted and officer. How could I just go up to them and say, hey, I'm homeless, I mean, because
I think it's terrible. I think it's terrible that you don't feel like you can go to your leadership and say that, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's so many resources in place to be able to help with this. You know what I mean? And if you're willing to get help, like, and willing to ask for it, like, there's got to be resources in place to help this. You know what I mean? Like, man, you put so much into your country, and the fact that nobody's helping you out is
Well, yeah, but then part of it, like, also was like I did accept like a contractor position, working with security clearances. So it's like, but then I got fired from that position because I guess in which I was working for the Navy, so I was working on specifically Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam,
Yep.
which is a Navy and Air Force combined joint base. And so, so I was working like for like all of like the Navy, like the corpsmen and and all the other Navy the medical staff.
Yep.
And but I specifically worked with security clearances. So I mean, because just doing like just similar operations of what I've gotten used to have been doing, especially in the military, because things in the military, it's gotten like a lot more joint. There's joint doctrine, there's joint publications. So it's not specifically, it's not really branch specific. I find anymore. Yeah, but I did my best because it's like, because it is everywhere. Hey, what do we do? Well, what are we trained to do? Adapt, adjust, right? They can, especially like an army, we adjust fire, we shift left, shift right accordingly.
Well, here's what I want you to do, right? And I listen, for all of you out there, I've been texting. I have been texting while you're talking, and it's not been out of rudeness, but it's been out of me finding a way to get you help. And so here's what I want you to do. I want you to call the Independence Fund. I got this number right now. Do you have a pen and paper?
Yeah.
I want you to ask for Sarah. It's 1-888-8. Yeah, so 1-888-851 7996.
7996. Got it.
And I want, listen, you call them, you tell them your story, you tell them what you need, and I'm going to tell you something right now. They are going to help you. There is no doubt. And I, like, again, anybody out there watching me on the podcast, seeing me look down, like, I was not taking your story seriously. I was not ignoring you. Like, I was literally texting people to try to get you help as I'm talking to you, because I want to make sure that if nothing else, that I can, if there's something like this going on, that I get to do my part to be able to help you.
I appreciate it.
So I'm asking you, I want you to reach out to them.
I will.
And I just, there's no way that I was going to go to sleep tonight if I didn't give you some resource. And like, I'm asking you, look, if what you're telling me is the situation that you're in right now, in any veteran out there, if you know any veteran out there in crisis that's struggling, if you know any veteran out there that's homeless, if you know any active service member that's in a situation that's like this, like, you give them that number and you call it. And I can tell you something right now, the Independence Fund will be there and will help, and they will provide solutions to help get this figured out. Like, there's no way that if you've served this country that long that you need to be homeless. And I'm sorry if you can't ask your leadership for help, right? But gosh, like, there was no way that I was going to be able to get off the call with you without giving you something to be able to be able to put you in a better spot than you called in with.
Yes.
So listen, I appreciate you. I hope it gets better for you. Please call that number. Ask for Sarah. Sarah is great. Sarah's incredible. She, the Independence Fund is by far, in my views, the best organization on the face of the planet. When you talk about doing what they say they're going to do, when you talk about putting veterans first, when you talk about a solution-based organization, That's what the Independence Fund is. And I'll tell you this, if you'll pick up the phone and you'll call them, you know, they're gonna, the Independence Fund leaves people better than they found them.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, sir.
I appreciate you.
I hope you have a great day, and please call them as soon as we get off the phone. You promise me?
I promise you.
Okay. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day.
All right, thanks.
Sir.
Man, that was so cool of you.
Man,
That was amazing.
what a terrible thing, right? Like, but hopefully, you know, listen, that's what the You're Human podcast is about. And that's like where I'm so fortunate to be around, you know, probably my best friend, Sarah Verardo, who just, when you talk about the epitome of, you know, the line, I stole it from her. But she says that like partners for life. So that's just part of it. But she says, if you have the ability to do good, you should do good. And she lives her entire life by that. And, you know, she started the Independence Fund when her husband, Michael, who just such an awesome guy, when he was blown up in Afghanistan. And so, you know, he, you know, because of his injuries, he is the most critically injured service member to live and come back. And just, you know, she is, when you talk about a caregiver, you talk about, I mean, just the epitome of greatness is what Sarah is. So like, just wrote her, and like, that's how fast it happens. Right. And so, man, I just really hope that guy gets help, right? Hope we can put him in a better situation. Cause that's what the podcast is about. It's about people coming in, and hopefully when they hang up, my goal is that they call in, and when they hang that phone up, that they're better than when they called in. Right. And that's really the epitome of what we should all be. We should walk in and we should leave people better than we found them. We should leave every room better than we found it. We should walk out of every, you know, we should have the goal of walking out of every single room better than we walked in it. And it's really a simple way of life, but it's the way that I believe in with everything that I've got. So listen, leaving tomorrow for Utah. I'm going to go get after it. We'll be back next Tuesday at noon, because I don't have anything else going on next Tuesday. So next Tuesday at noon, we will be back here on the Your Human podcast. I appreciate every single one of you all. You all are incredible. And thanks for the support. And I hope you all have a great week and keep owning it.